Title IX, a U.S. federal civil rights law prohibiting sex-based discrimination in education programs or activities receiving federal financial assistance, ensuring equal opportunities in academics, athletics, and protecting against sexual harassment and violence.
This documentary explores the inequality woven in sports culture and media coverage. It asks why. In a world that celebrates athletic greatness, women athletes still have to fight to be respected, seen, and treated equally. Because human dignity and human rights should be available to every athlete, regardless of gender.
Coaches play an important role in shaping athletes both on and off the field. Through experience and leadership, they see firsthand how women's sports continue to grow and evolve, which is what led me to interview my coach, Steph Celeste.
Hi, I'm Coach Steph Celeste, and I'm the JV lacrosse coach here at Monomoy. I've been playing lacrosse since the 5th grade, but I also played in college as well at Salve.
What changes have you seen over the years for better or worse?
I do feel that women in sports have a positive change. I mean, growing up, I used to have to play a lot with the boys, and now there's actually girls teams that I can participate in.
What message do you want young athletes to hear?
I think just at least try. Like, if it's a sport that you don't think that you're going to be good at least try it, because you might be really great at it.
Have you seen differences in funding or support between men's and women's programs?
Definitely. Growing up, I've noticed that boys get better equipment, better locker rooms, while the girls pretty much have to fend for themselves and fundraise to get what they needed.
What challenges are unique to coaching women athletes?
I think with the wide range of ages I have on the team, I think just understanding everyone's emotions so they can all come together and play as a team.
First, we hear from student athlete Annalie Massey. I asked her about her personal experiences as a female athlete and some of the challenges and differences she has noticed in sports today.
Hi, my name is Annalie. I'm a sophomore at Monomoy High School, and I play basketball and golf.
Have you ever felt pressure to focus on appearance or personality more than performance?
Yeah, I feel like in sports, especially playing basketball or even golf, people really look at like how your form is and how your swing looks. And some people might say like that's not a real swing, or like that's not how the guys do it. And it's really not about appearance. I mean, all the guys in basketball, they try to dunk or they try to make their layup look really pretty, but in all seriousness, it just needs to go in regardless of how it looks. So I think women don't really care that much about that, so people think that women's sports isn't as fun to watch.
Do you think women athletes are portrayed differently than men in interviews or highlights?
Yeah, I think especially in highlights, women, they try to find the bad things that women do rather than having a highlight. They rather would have a low light. So like all the misses, all the mistakes, all the fouls, they look at those, while the guys, if they do something and a girl does it, the girl does not get as much recognition, but the guy gets like awards.
How does unequal treatment impact athletes mentally and emotionally?
For me, I feel like women's sports, especially like basketball, is really not as like accepted as men's is, and it's very embarrassing to think about. I don't really talk about like how I play anymore. I don't really like show off that I play. I just kind of leave it to myself, just because guys usually have something to say and it's usually not something great. And I'd rather protect my like mental confidence than have some boy tell me I'm not as good that I think I am, or something like that, or just something that makes me feel really bad.
When did you first realize women's sports were treated differently from men's sports?
I figured that out when I had talked about a women's basketball team that I had gone to like go see play. I had gone to see the Connecticut Sun, and a bunch of guys looked at me weird and were like, "You don't watch the Celtics?" And I'm not a big NBA watcher, and that's when I just realized that the WNBA and stuff like that does not get as much recognition. Like women's golf doesn't get enough recognition, and I just felt kind of embarrassed. And they were like, "Why are you watching the WNBA? Nobody watches that." And that's kind of when I like stopped publicly saying that I did watch stuff like that.
Next, we hear from student athlete Kylie Sprague. She shares her own experiences in athletics and talks about what she's observed about opportunities, treatment, and recognition for women in sports.
Hi, I'm Kylie Sprague. I'm a freshman at Monomoy High School, and I play soccer and lacrosse.
What's a moment that made you proud to be a woman in sports?
A moment that made me proud to be a woman in sports is when we all get together as a team to have team dinners and all these fun events, and not only have fun outside of the sport, but have fun in the sport and have that bond that the sport brings us together to create.
What frustrates you most about how women's sports are discussed online or on TV?
A lot of the times people online overlook women's athletic abilities and go straight to their appearance and how they look, when really women should be appreciated for their effort and skill that they put into their sport.
When did you first realize women's sports are treated differently from men's sports?
A lot of the time growing up, when we would watch sports on TV, like football or basketball, it would be men's sports, and there wasn't a lot of women's sports to watch on TV. Like, it was mostly just men's basketball. There wasn't any women's basketball. So that's kind of when I started to realize it.
For decades, women in sports have fought for respect, recognition, and equal opportunity. One of the biggest examples of this fight can be seen in the WNBA, where players have spoken out against unequal pay and unfair treatment. In 2020, during the WNBA season, players wore warm-up shirts that read, "Pay us what you owe us." This message was simple but powerful. WNBA athletes believe they deserve fair pay for the talent, hard work, and entertainment they bring to the game. The WNBA salary has historically been much lower than the salaries in the NBA. Even though many women still train just as hard and dedicate their lives to basketball, some players even had to play overseas during the off-season to earn enough money to support themselves. The movement was about more than just money. It was about equality, respect, and recognition for women athletes. Players wanted better salaries, improved travel conditions, maternity benefits, and a stronger voice in decisions affecting the league.
Welcome back to Indianapolis, where it has been an incredible celebration of the WNBA all week long. This is one of the most successful all-star weekends we have ever seen in this league, and we know what we're talking about. We've all been covering it for nearly 2 decades, but something important happened before the game. As you know, the collective bargaining agreement is under discussion right now between the league and their players. And before the game, the players came out without their warm-ups on with shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." There is a feeling among the players, as they expressed in their meeting on Thursday, that they want to have a piece of the revenue. It has been record-sharing revenue for the WNBA, and they have not been sharing that with the players. Over 40 players showed up to that face-to-face meeting, the first to negotiate the CBA. The players said there were so many of them that they had to get more chairs for the room. The thing we know about this league, the players remain united in asking for what Nafisa Collier calls 2 things that they will not budge on: higher salaries for players and revenue sharing.
Many athletes, including Paige Beckers and more, became leaders in the pushing for change. Their activism helped bring national attention to the issue of gender equality in professional sports. As more fans began supporting the WNBA, conversations about equal pay grew louder. The league later agreed to a new collective bargaining agreement that increased salaries and improved player benefits. While many players say there is still more progress to make, the movement showed the power of athletes using the platform to fight for change. The phrase, "Pay us what you owe us," became more than just a slogan. It became a symbol of ongoing fight for equality in sports and a reminder that women athletes deserve the same respect and opportunities as men. Have fought for respect, equality, and opportunity for generations. From unequal pay to fewer resources and recognition, female athletes continue to face challenges both on and off the field. But despite these obstacles, they keep breaking records, inspiring athletes, and proving that talent has no gender. The voices shared in this documentary show that women's sports are more than just games. They represent determination, passion, and progress. Movements like Pay Us What You Owe Us have helped bring attention to the unfair treatment many female athletes still experience today. As women's sports continue to grow in popularity, the conversation about equality becomes even more important. Change does not happen overnight, but every athlete, fan, and supporter helps move the game forward. In the end, women's sports are not just asking for special treatment, they're asking for fairness, respect, and the opportunities that they have earned.